Hello. We have to start off this lesson with a little disclaimer. I had recorded about 12 minutes and then there was a document error and then I had to stop the video and then I was uploading the video and I thought, ooh, well, now that I fixed the problem, I'll start the second part of the video. But then I was done with the second part of the video. First part was gone. So now I'm going to re-record the first part and it's awkwardly going to connect to the second part of the video. So we've got this technology. Okay. All right. So the whole point of today is pretending you are logging in and are going to remotely engage with a whole workshop model for a math lesson without the support of teachers. So obviously we're going to, stop and ask questions here or there, but you really, as we have you model and work through some of these things by yourself, you can't really ask us a clarifying question. So if you do end up having a question, that's great. You should have questions. We recommend you find a resource on your own that would help answer your question. This is also why you have accountability partners though, so you can reach out to others. Okay. All right. So let's pretend. All right. So you are logging in for the day. And of course, we just are going to start off with even more problems. All right. You have logged in to your class. You're going to find today's date. Today's date is 9/3. So you're going to engage in lesson 1 by yourself because you are, we're modeling being remote. So you would open up the slide and you would go to the gel. This is the gel that's going to explain to you everything that you should be learning today, how you'll know if you've learned it, and then the learning experience you're going to engage in to accomplish it. Okay. Today you're working with I can write repeating decimals as fractions. If this were a real online lesson where we weren't here, we would unpack that learning target here in the intro video. But since we're already got this great video going, we'll unpack it here. I can write repeating decimals as fractions. Well, it's really good fluency for decimals and fractions. And what we are really doing, the most important thing about this lesson is that it takes 5 steps to accomplish it. Being able to do multi-step processes in math is very important because a lot of math as it goes on in the grade levels, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 step problems, okay? So we're taking something semi-low stakes, right? You know what decimals are, you know what fractions are, and we're asking you to engage in a multi-step process to be successful, okay? You'll know you're successful when you can write repeating decimals as fractions, and you can write repeating decimals with non-repeating digits as fractions. So how would you start to be able to accomplish this goal on your own at home? Well, you would go to the mini lesson. You would listen about the goal a little bit more. And then you would engage in at least one of these 3 learning platforms. This mini lesson takes essentially is what Mrs. Smythe or I would do in person, right? We would teach you the content and we would go over it and we would practice and then you would do it on your own, okay? So this takes out Mrs. Smythe and I teaching and replaces that because you're not with us. So you can either choose to engage with Pearson, engage with Virtual Nerd, or engage with Khan Academy. Notice that you just have to complete at least one of the following platforms. If you complete one of them and you're still confused, you could look at the other resources in Virtual Nerd or Khan Academy to gain a better understanding. So you don't have to choose one, you can choose more. It just depends on your needs, okay? So each of these pictures has a link to a different example in Pearson. This link has a video and then links to it, and then you can open a transcript of everything the video says, but written. And then Khan Academy has 2 videos that you could engage with. No matter which one you choose, each one of them ends in a quick check for you to quickly check your understanding and see how you're feeling. So the other video, since I went more into it, part 2, I'm not going to explain these 2 as much, so I'll focus back on Pearson. So we're always going to include Pearson or Savas, as it's now called, because it's the main resource we have for our class. So for this time, maybe the next few times we might make a document like this for guided notes, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get in the habit as a learner, figuring out what kind of note system works best for you. So in this guided notes, it gives you explicit examples of how to use this guided notes document. Below are pictures from your textbook and example problems. Please analyze and treat as if you took these notes to better support your own learning. So what it means by guided notes is that we're giving you an example of what your notes should look like if you started off with a blank piece of paper, okay? Modeling these steps for you right now will help you feel successful. And really, it's a document to show you how you can start making your thinking visible if you decide to create things in a Google Doc. Know that you can always create things with pen, pencil, paper, okay? Still, the pen, pencil, paper should kind of generally model this, okay? Now, notice in Pearson, each lesson will have a key concept. This is the key way that you're going to be successful for this specific math concept. This specific math concept is 5 steps. So you would go ahead, you would read and analyze the 5 steps, and then it's always better to put the steps in your own words so that it's easy for you to remember because it's language you use. So there is a space for you to rewrite these steps in your own words. Now, that's just the key concept. You should always write down the key concept. The key concept is actually also modeled in Virtual Nerd, okay? So it's not like one avenue has like a better like idea or trick how to be successful. So then you would go to the example 1. So this is the example 1. You would click it here and it would take you to a little video, and then, excuse me, don't know why that happened. It would take you to a little video, and then after the video would be this problem. Notice that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, because it's going to take 5 steps to be successful. So let's say you printed off this document and you're at home. You could just write in these steps. You could fill in the bubbles. But if you're not at home and you didn't print this off, or you're not writing it on a piece of paper, you could go in and begin typing in your answers here. Okay. Notice there's not a good way to write that repetend, that line over the 4 that shows that it's a repeating decimal, 4444444. So if you are using this document, just know that there's going to be limitations, okay? All right, so you would model example 2 in your notes, okay? And then you would go on to example 2. And this is where example 2 is. So here you would try a problem on your own, and then you would compare and see how you did by pushing next, 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 and it would go ahead and show you the 5 steps. So you would want to see how you did, right? If you got all 5 steps, great. If you missed one, analyze your error, right? What did you do wrong, okay? Then there's one to try on your own. Next, you'll go to example 3. Here's just a worked problem. Again, another model of how to solve and be successful. Again, one thing I do want to point out, which I didn't earlier, I apologize, is when you are actually in Pearson Savas, if you click on this little microphone button, it will read you the problem line for line for line. All right, then the last example problem, do it on your own, takes 5 steps to solve, boom. All right, so no matter which one you chose, if you chose Pearson, Virtual Nerd, or Khan, it's gonna take you to this mini check. You're gonna fill out your name, date, community, and then you're gonna write your answer to both problems. Notice these are the Pearson problems, but if you engage with Virtual Nerd, it's reasonable that you should be able to solve these 2 problems even though they're Pearson problems. Khan Academy, same expectation, okay? So you decide how you want to learn the information and then just apply it to the questions as given. Ask you how you thought you did. Did you like Pearson? Didn't use it. Did you like Virtual Nerd? Didn't use it. Okay, so just click through all the answers and then submit at the end and you are done. All right, so this was an example of modified notes. Again, I said you could print it out or you could type in it. Do note that for the first few lessons, we will model how this could look for you by taking pictures and allowing you to fill in the blanks. eventually you will devise or figure out your own system, okay? So definitely pay attention to your science class because they're going to be working with you a lot on how to take notes. If you like one of their ways to take notes and you can apply it to your math, or you already have a great way of taking notes, use that way, okay? This is just an example. You don't have to use it. We just want to give you as much structures and tools to help support you so you can feel successful. So now that you've engaged in the mini lesson, the expectation is that you know enough that you could go ahead and try the practice. So you would go to the work time page, which is where you would show your practice, and you read the directions. But ultimately, you click on this link to go to Savas and take the 8-question practice problem, or practice like online worksheet, right? You're right. Show us your thinking. Then you move on to the closure slide, okay? Your goal, your evidence, you did the mini time, you did the work time, you're done. All we're going to ask you to do is to fill out the closure form, and you are good to go. So this might not work with the other video I posted. It's going to seem a little disjointed, but that's okay. So now what you're going to do is you are going to go back and you are going to engage in this mini lesson all by yourself. The teacher is going to actually stop. This video is going to end, and they're going to give you 15, 20 minutes to do this by yourself. Just know that you can't ask anything of the teacher because we're not supposed to be there, okay? So teacher, once you're done giving them time to engage with Pearson Virtual Nerd Con, go ahead, make sure they've done the quick check, and then start the other video.